The alarm clock buzzed at 5:30 in the morning, just like it did every single day. Maya reached over and hit the snooze button, her body begging for just 5 more minutes of rest. But she knew better. 5 minutes would turn into 10, and then she'd be late for her first job at the diner downtown. She dragged herself out of bed and walked quietly to the tiny bedroom next door. Her daughter Lily was still sleeping peacefully, her small chest rising and falling with each breath. Maya smiled despite her exhaustion. This little girl was her whole world, her reason for getting up every morning and pushing through another day. After getting ready, Maya left a note on the kitchen table for Lily, along with cereal and milk already set out. Her neighbor Mrs. Chen would come by at 7 to make sure Lily got ready for school. Maya hated not being there in the mornings, but the early shift at the diner paid slightly better, and every dollar mattered. The diner was already busy when she arrived. Maya tied her apron and jumped right into taking orders, pouring coffee and serving breakfast to the regulars who came in every day. Her feet ached by 9 in the morning, but she kept smiling, kept moving. Tips were better when you smiled. Her second job started at 2 in the afternoon at a small grocery store, stocking shelves and running the register during rush hour. By the time she got home at 7 in the evening, Lily had already finished her homework with Mrs. Chen's help. They'd eat dinner together, usually something simple like pasta or rice and beans, and then Maya would help Lily get ready for bed. This had been their routine for 3 years now, ever since Lily's father walked out without a word or a penny of support. Maya had learned to survive on her own, to stretch every dollar until it screamed. Their apartment was small and the walls were thin, but it was clean and safe. That was all that mattered. But lately something was wrong. Maya had been feeling tired, more tired than usual. At first she blamed it on her schedule, on working 2 jobs and barely sleeping. Then she noticed the lump. It was small, barely noticeable, but it was there. She tried to ignore it for weeks, telling herself it was nothing, that it would go away on its own. It didn't go away. When she finally gathered the courage to see a doctor at the free clinic, the news hit her like a truck. She needed surgery, soon, and after that she'd need treatment. The doctor was kind but direct. Without proper care, things could get much worse. Maya sat in her car in the clinic parking lot and cried for 20 minutes straight. She had basic insurance through the grocery store, but it barely covered anything. The surgery alone would cost thousands of dollars that she simply didn't have. The treatment afterward would cost even more. That night, after Lily fell asleep, Maya sat at their small kitchen table and looked at the bills spread out in front of her. Rent, electricity, groceries, school supplies. She was already behind on the electric bill. Where was she supposed to find thousands of dollars for medical care? She thought about asking for help, maybe starting one of those online fundraising pages she'd seen other people use. But the thought made her stomach turn. She'd always taken care of herself and Lily. Asking strangers for money felt like admitting defeat, like failing as a mother. Then her eyes landed on the old box in the corner of the living room. Inside were art supplies she hadn't touched in years. Before Lily was born, Maya used to paint. Nothing fancy, just small watercolors of flowers, landscapes, peaceful scenes that made her feel calm. Her mother had encouraged her talent, had told her she could be a real artist someday. But life got in the way. First came the pregnancy, then the struggle to make ends meet, and painting seemed like a luxury she couldn't afford. The supplies had sat untouched for so long that she'd almost forgotten about them. That night, Maya pulled out the box and opened it. The brushes were a bit stiff, and some of the paints had dried out, but most of it was still usable. She set up a small workspace at the kitchen table and started painting. Her hands remembered what to do even after all these years. She painted a simple scene of wildflowers in a field, the kind she used to see when visiting her grandmother's house as a child. It wasn't perfect, but it was honest. It was real. Over the next 2 weeks, Maya painted every night after Lily went to bed. She'd work until midnight or later, fighting through exhaustion and the growing pain in her body. She painted flowers, sunsets, little cottages by the sea, birds on branches. Anything peaceful, anything beautiful. She researched how to sell art online and at local markets. The weekend market downtown seemed like the best option. The vendor fee was $30, which would hurt her budget, but if she could sell even a few paintings, it might be worth it. The first Saturday morning at the market was intimidating. Maya set up her small folding table between a woman selling handmade jewelry and a man with organic vegetables. Her paintings looked amateur next to some of the other art vendors who had professional displays and expensive frames. She'd priced her paintings at $20 each, not wanting to ask for too much. A few people stopped to look, made polite comments, but kept walking. By the end of the day, she'd sold exactly one painting to an elderly woman who said it reminded her of her childhood home. $20. After the vendor fee, that left her with a loss of $10 for the day. Maya tried not to cry on the drive home. Lily asked how it went, and Maya forced a smile and said it was good, that she'd sold a painting and met nice people. She wouldn't let her daughter see the fear and disappointment crushing her chest. The next weekend was slightly better. She sold 3 paintings and made $30 after the vendor fee. The weekend after that, 2 paintings. It wasn't enough. It wasn't nearly enough. The medical bills started arriving. Payment plans were offered, but even those required money she didn't have. The clinic called to schedule her surgery, but Maya had to push the date back, claiming she needed more time to prepare. In reality, she needed more time to figure out how she'd ever pay for it. She started feeling weaker. Some mornings it was hard to get out of bed. She'd catch herself touching the lump, feeling it, wondering if it was growing. Fear became her constant companion. But she kept painting. Every night, no matter how tired she felt, no matter how much her body hurt, she painted. It was the only thing she could control, the only hope she had left. One Saturday morning, Maya woke up to the sound of rain hitting the window. Her heart sank. Rain meant fewer people at the market, which meant fewer potential customers. She almost stayed home, almost gave up for the day. But something made her go anyway. Maybe it was stubbornness, or maybe it was desperation. She loaded her paintings into her old car, kissed Lily goodbye, and headed downtown. The market was quiet under the gray sky. Only the most dedicated vendors had shown up. Maya set up her table under the covered area, arranging her paintings as nicely as she could. A few people wandered past, umbrellas in hand, barely glancing at the displays. She was about to pack up early when a man in a nice coat stopped in front of her table. He stood there for a long moment, really looking at her paintings. Not just glancing and moving on like most people did. Maya held her breath, hardly daring to hope. The man looked different from the usual weekend market crowd. His coat was expensive looking, the kind that didn't come from discount stores. His shoes were polished despite the rain. But what struck Maya most was the way he studied her paintings. Not the quick glance most people gave before moving on, but a real, genuine look. He picked up one of her watercolors, a simple scene of a sunset over a lake. Maya had painted it 2 nights ago, remembering a trip she'd taken with her grandmother when she was young. The memory had been so vivid that night, she could almost feel the warm breeze and smell the water. "This is beautiful," he said, his voice quiet but sincere. There's something honest about it. Maya didn't know what to say. Most people either ignored her work or offered polite compliments that felt empty. This felt different. "Thank you," she managed to say. "I painted it from memory." The man nodded, still looking at the painting. Then he looked at the others on her table. He spent time with each one, really seeing them. Maya felt nervous under his attention, like she was being tested somehow. "How long have you been painting?" he asked. "On and off for years," Maya said. "But I just started selling recently." "What made you start selling now?" The question caught her off guard. She could have lied, could have said something simple about wanting to share her art with the world, but something about the way he asked, like he genuinely wanted to know, made her tell the truth. "I need the money," she said quietly, "for medical treatment." The man looked up from the paintings, his expression changing. Not pity exactly, but understanding. "I'm sorry," he said. "That must be really difficult." Maya shrugged, not trusting her voice. She was so tired of being strong, of holding everything together, but she couldn't break down in front of a stranger at the market. "How much for these 3? The man asked, pointing to the sunset, a field of wildflowers and a small cottage by the sea. $20 each, Maya said, her voice steadier now. $60 for all 3. Without hesitation, the man pulled out his wallet and handed her 3 $20 bills. No negotiating, no asking for a discount. He carefully picked up the paintings, holding them like they were valuable. "You have real talent," he said. "Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." Before Maya could respond, he reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a business card. He placed it on her table next to the cash. "My name is Alex," he said. I work with art galleries, helping them find new artists. I think you could be showing your work in a real gallery, not just at weekend markets." Maya stared at the card. Alex Chen, art gallery consultant. There was a phone number and an email address. "I don't think I'm good enough for galleries," she said honestly. "Let me be the judge of that," Alex said with a small smile. "Think about it. Give me a call if you're interested." No pressure. He walked away before Maya could say anything else, disappearing into the light rain with her paintings tucked carefully under his arm. Maya looked down at the business card, then at the $60 in her hand. It was the most she'd made in a single sale. But more than that, someone had actually seen something in her work. Someone who worked with real galleries thought she had talent. For the first time in weeks, she felt something other than fear and exhaustion. She felt hope. That night, after Lily was asleep, Maya sat at the kitchen table and stared at Alex's business card. Part of her thought it might be some kind of scam. People didn't just offer opportunities like that to struggling single mothers selling paintings at rainy markets. Things like that didn't happen to people like her. But another part of her, the part that used to dream about being an artist, whispered that maybe this was real. Maybe this was her chance she didn't call right away. For 3 days, the business card sat on her kitchen counter, and she'd look at it every time she walked past. She was scared. Scared of getting her hopes up. Scared of failing. Scared of looking foolish. On the 4th day, her phone rang. It was the clinic, asking again about scheduling her surgery. The woman on the phone was patient but firm. Maya couldn't keep putting it off forever. Her condition was getting worse. After she hung up, Maya picked up the business card and dialed the number before she could change her mind. Alex answered on the 3rd ring. "Hello? Hi, this is Maya from the weekend market. You bought 3 of my paintings, Maya. I'm glad you called. I was hoping you would." They talked for almost an hour. Alex explained that he worked with several galleries in the city, helping them discover new talent. He organized small exhibitions for emerging artists, giving them a chance to show their work to people who actually bought art. "I'm putting together an exhibition next month," Alex said. "Small, intimate. About 10 artists. I'd love to include some of your work." Maya's heart raced. "I don't know if I'm ready for something like that." "You are," Alex said with confidence. "Trust me, I've been doing this for 15 years. I know talent when I see it. What would I need to do? Create about 6 to 8 new pieces. We'd display them at the gallery for 2 weeks. If they sell, you'd keep 70% of the price. The gallery keeps 30. Maya did quick math in her head. If she could sell even a few paintings at gallery prices, not market prices, it could really help with her medical bills. "Okay," she heard herself say. "I'll do it." After they hung up, Maya felt like she'd jumped off a cliff. What had she just agreed to? She had less than a month to create 6 to 8 new paintings, all while working 2 jobs and taking care of Lily and feeling sick most days. But she didn't have a choice. This might be her only chance. The next few weeks were the hardest of Maya's life. She'd wake up at 5:30, work at the diner until 1, rush to the grocery store for her second shift, come home and help Lily with dinner and homework, and then paint until 2 or 3 in the morning. Her body screamed at her to rest. The lump seemed to ache constantly now. Some nights her hands shook so badly from exhaustion that she could barely hold the brush. But she kept going, Lily noticed. "Mama, you look tired," she said one evening, her small face full of worry. "I'm okay, sweetheart," Maya lied, kissing the top of her daughter's head. "Mama's just working on something special." The paintings for the gallery? Maya had told Lily about the opportunity, unable to keep the excitement completely hidden. "Yes, for the gallery. I think your paintings are the most beautiful in the world," Lily said seriously. Maya hugged her daughter tight, fighting back tears. This was why she was doing all of this. For Lily. To stay healthy and alive for Lily. 2 weeks before the exhibition, Alex called to check on her progress. Maya invited him over, nervous about showing him her apartment, about what he'd think of how she lived. But Alex didn't seem to judge. He looked around the small space with kind eyes, and when Lily shyly showed him a drawing she'd made, he complimented it genuinely. Then he saw the paintings Maya had been working on. He stood in front of them for a long time, not saying anything. Maya's stomach twisted with anxiety. Maybe they weren't good enough. Maybe he'd made a mistake inviting her to the exhibition. "Maya," he finally said, his voice thick with emotion, "these are incredible. The pain in them, the hope. People are going to connect with these. Really? Maya whispered. Really? He turned to her. You're not just painting pretty pictures. You're painting your truth. That's what makes real art. Over the next 2 weeks, Alex helped her frame the paintings properly and price them. He suggested $50 to $75 per piece, which made Maya nervous. Who would pay that much for her work? You'd be surprised, Alex said. People will pay for work that speaks to them. The day before the exhibition opening, Alex stopped by again. He brought supplies for Lily to make her own art, keeping her busy while he talked to Maya. I want you to know something, he said. After the exhibition opens, I'm going to share your story with a friend who writes for the local community blog. The story of a single mother painting to fund her medical treatment. Would that be okay? Maya hesitated. She'd always been private about her struggles. I don't know. People connect with real stories, Alex said gently. And your story might inspire others who are going through hard times. Plus, it might bring more people to see your work. Maya thought about it. If it meant more people might buy her paintings, if it meant getting closer to affording her surgery, maybe it was worth it. Okay, she agreed. That night, Maya barely slept. Tomorrow her paintings would hang in a real gallery. Tomorrow people would judge her work, her heart, her truth hanging on white walls for everyone to see. She was terrified, but she was also ready. The gallery was nothing like Maya had imagined. She'd pictured something intimidating and cold, with stark white walls and judgmental people sipping wine. But when she walked in the evening of the opening, she found something different. The space was warm and welcoming, with soft lighting that made all the artwork glow. Her paintings were hung on the far wall, and seeing them there, properly framed and lit, took her breath away. They looked real. They looked like they belonged. Lily squeezed her hand. Mama, look. Your paintings are so pretty on the wall. Maya knelt down to her daughter's level. Do you really think so? I know so, Lily said with the absolute certainty only a 7-year-old could have. Alex appeared beside them, smiling. You made it. I was getting worried. Sorry, I had trouble finding someone to watch Lily. Mrs. Chen is out of town visiting her son. Bring her in, Alex said warmly. This is your night. Both of you should be here. The gallery started filling up with people. Maya felt completely out of place in her simple dress, the nicest one she owned, but still clearly from a discount store. Everyone else looked wealthy, comfortable, like they belonged in places like this. She stood near her paintings, feeling like an imposter. A few people walked by, glanced at her work, and moved on. Each time it happened, Maya's heart sank a little more. Then an older couple stopped. They stood in front of her painting of the wildflower field for a long time. The woman had tears in her eyes. Richard, look at this one, she said to her husband. It reminds me of the field behind my parents' house, remember? Where we had our first picnic. The man put his arm around his wife. I remember. They talked quietly between themselves, then the woman approached Maya. Did you paint this? Maya nodded, her throat tight. Yes, ma'am, it's beautiful. It made me remember something I hadn't thought about in years. That's the mark of real art, you know, when it makes you feel something. They bought the painting, $75. Maya watched as Alex put a small red dot next to where the painting had hung, marking it as sold. Her first gallery sale. More people came through as the evening went on. A young couple bought the cottage by the sea. A businessman bought the sunset over the lake. By the end of the night, 5 of her 8 paintings had sold. Maya did the math in her head. 5 paintings at an average of $65 each, and she'd keep 70%. That was over $200 in one night, more than she made in a whole week at the diner. Congratulations, Alex said as people started leaving. This is just the beginning. Maya wanted to believe him, but years of struggle had taught her not to count on anything until it was real. 3 days later, Alex called. Have you seen the article? What article? Check the Highland Community blog right now. Maya pulled up the website on her phone, and there it was. A full article with the headline, Local Mom Paints Her Way Toward Hope. There was a photo of her standing next to her paintings at the gallery, and Lily sitting on the floor drawing in the corner. The article told her story. Everything. The medical diagnosis, the 2 jobs, the painting at night to try to raise money for treatment. It talked about her work, describing it as raw and honest, the kind of art that comes from real struggle and real hope. Maya's hands shook as she read. She'd known Alex would share her story, but seeing it written out like this for everyone to see felt overwhelming. Maya, you still there? Alex's voice came through the phone. I'm here. I don't know how I feel about this. Read the comments, Alex said gently. She scrolled down. There were dozens of comments and more appearing as she watched. This story broke my heart and gave me hope at the same time. Where can I buy her paintings? Is there a way to donate? This mom deserves help. Just ordered a painting through the gallery website. Her work is stunning. Maya couldn't believe what she was reading. Strangers, people who didn't know her at all, were moved by her story. They wanted to help. Over the next week, something incredible happened. The article was shared hundreds of times on social media. People from all over the city, and even from other states, started reaching out. The gallery got calls and emails asking about her work. The remaining 3 paintings from the exhibition sold within 2 days. Then the commission requests started coming in. People wanted custom paintings. A woman wanted Maya to paint her childhood home from a photo. A man wanted a portrait of his late mother's garden. A young couple wanted a painting for their new baby's nursery. Alex helped Maya set up an online shop and manage all the requests. You need to price these fairly, he said. Don't undervalue your work. Maya raised her prices to $100 for small paintings, $150 for larger ones. She was terrified no one would pay that much, but they did. Orders kept coming. Within 3 weeks, Maya had made more money than she usually made in 3 months of working both jobs. She sat at her kitchen table one night looking at her bank account and cried. For the first time since her diagnosis, she could see a path forward. She could actually afford the surgery. She called the clinic the next morning and scheduled the procedure. 4 weeks from now, it felt real suddenly, terrifyingly real, but also like a weight was lifting. Alex continued to check on her regularly. He'd stop by with coffee, help her photograph her new paintings for the online shop, and even play with Lily sometimes while Maya worked. He'd told her bits about his own life, how he'd lost his mother to cancer when he was in college, how he'd wished he could have done more to help her. That's why I do this, he said one evening as they packed up a painting to ship, finding talented people who deserve a chance. It feels like I'm doing something that matters. Maya looked at him, really looked at him. He'd changed her life completely, and he acted like it was nothing. Like helping people was just what you did. Why did you stop at my table that day? She asked. At the market in the rain. You could have stayed home. Alex smiled. Honestly, I almost did stay home. I was tired, it was miserable weather. But something made me go. And then I saw your paintings and I saw you and I just knew. Sometimes you meet people and you know they're supposed to be in your life for a reason. Lily came running into the room, holding up a drawing she'd made. Mr. Alex, look what I drew. It's you and Mama and me at the park. In the drawing, 3 stick figures stood under a bright sun, all holding hands and smiling. Alex took the drawing carefully, studying it like it was fine art. This is wonderful, Lily. Can I keep it? Lily beamed. Yes, you can hang it in your house. That night, after Alex left and Lily was asleep, Maya painted something new. Not for a customer or commission, just for herself. She painted 3 figures under a bright sun. It was simple and honest like all her work. But this one was different. This one was about hope, about the unexpected kindness of strangers, about how life could surprise you when you least expected it. She titled it, The Day Everything Changed. 2 weeks before her surgery, the gallery hosted another small showing, this time featuring only Maya's work. The response was even bigger than before. Local news picked up her story. A morning show wanted to interview her. It felt surreal, like she was living someone else's life. But with all the good came new fears. The surgery was approaching fast. What if something went wrong? What if the treatment afterward didn't work? She'd been so focused on affording the medical care that she hadn't let herself think about the actual reality of it. Alex found her sitting outside the gallery after the showing, staring at nothing. You okay? He asked, sitting down beside her. I'm scared, Maya admitted. About the surgery. About everything. That's normal. Anyone would be scared when what if I'm not around for Lily? What if this doesn't work? Alex was quiet for a moment. You can't think like that. You have to believe you're going to be fine. And whatever happens, Lily is surrounded by people who care about both of you. Mrs. Chen, me, all the people who've been following your story. You're not alone anymore, Maya. You're not carrying this by yourself. Maya felt tears running down her face. She'd been alone for so long, fighting every battle by herself, that she'd forgotten what it felt like to have support, to have someone tell her it was going to be okay and actually believe them. "Thank you," she whispered, "for everything, for seeing something in my paintings that day, for giving me a chance, for being here. Thank you for letting me help," Alex said quietly. "You reminded me why I do this work, why it matters." They sat together in comfortable silence as the sun set over the city, and Maya let herself believe, just for a moment, that everything might actually turn out okay. The morning of the surgery, Maya woke up before her alarm. She'd barely slept, her mind racing with 1,000 different thoughts. She looked over at Lily, still sleeping peacefully in the bed next to hers. They'd been sharing a room since they moved into this apartment, and Maya had never minded. She loved being close to her daughter, hearing her gentle breathing at night. But this morning, watching Lily sleep, Maya felt a wave of fear so strong it almost knocked the air from her lungs. What if this was one of the last times she'd see her daughter like this, peaceful and safe? She shook her head, pushing the dark thoughts away. She had to be strong. She had to believe everything would be fine. Mrs. Chen arrived at 6 to stay with Lily. The kind neighbor hugged Maya tightly at the door. "You're going to be just fine, dear. I'll take good care of our girl." Alex had offered to drive Maya to the hospital. When she protested, saying he'd already done too much, he'd been firm. "Let me do this, please." He was waiting in his car when she came downstairs. The drive to the hospital was quiet. Maya stared out the window, watching the city wake up. People going about their normal days, having no idea that her whole world felt like it was balanced on the edge of a knife. "I'm scared," she finally said, her voice barely a whisper. Alex reached over and squeezed her hand. "I know, but you're the strongest person I've ever met. Maya, you're going to get through this. If something happens, nothing's going to happen. But if it does," Maya continued, needing to say this, "Lily has some money saved now. From the paintings, and Mrs. Chen knows about it. She'll make sure Lily is taken care of. And there's a letter in my apartment in the top drawer of my dresser." "Maya, stop." Alex's voice was gentle but firm. He pulled the car over to the side of the road and turned to face her. "You're going to be fine. You're going to have this surgery and you're going to recover, and you're going to keep painting and being an amazing mother to Lily. That's what's going to happen." Maya wanted to believe him so badly it hurt. At the hospital, Alex stayed with her through all the paperwork and prep. The nurses were kind, explaining everything they were doing. One of them recognized Maya from the article. "You're the painter," she said with a warm smile. "My sister bought one of your pieces, the one with the cottage. She hung it in her living room and says it makes her happy every time she looks at it." Maya felt a small spark of something in her chest. Her art was in someone's home, making them happy. Whatever happened today, she'd left something good in the world. When it was time, Alex walked with her as far as they'd let him. At the doors to the surgical area, he hugged her carefully. "I'll be right here when you wake up," he promised. "And I'll check on Lily. Make sure she's doing okay." "Thank you," Maya said. And she meant it for so much more than just today. Then the doors opened and she was wheeled through, into the bright lights and beeping machines. A nurse held her hand as they prepared her for anesthesia. "Count backward from 10, someone said. 10, 9, 8, 7. Maya woke up to pain and blurred lights. Her throat hurt. Everything hurt. But she was awake. She was alive. A nurse appeared in her vision, smiling. "There you are. The surgery went very well. The doctor will be in soon to talk to you." Over the next few hours, as the anesthesia wore off, Maya learned the details. The surgery had been successful. They'd removed everything they needed to. The doctor was optimistic about her recovery. She'd need treatment, but the outlook was good. Good. That word felt like a miracle. Alex appeared in her room that afternoon, and Maya almost cried when she saw him. He looked tired, like he'd been awake the whole time she was in surgery. "Lily," was the first thing she managed to say, her voice scratchy. "She's fine. Mrs. Chen has her. I stopped by during the surgery to check. Lily made you a get-well card. I have it here." He held up a piece of construction paper covered in crayon drawings of flowers and hearts. In wobbly letters, Lily had written, "Get well soon, Mama, I love you to the moon." Maya did cry then, clutching the card to her chest. The recovery was harder than she'd expected. Her body needed time to heal, and the treatment that followed was exhausting. Some days she felt so sick and weak that getting out of bed seemed impossible, but she did it anyway because Lily needed her. The money from her paintings covered the medical bills and gave them a cushion for the first time in years. Maya had to take time off from both her jobs, but with the commission requests still coming in for paintings, she could actually afford it. Alex visited regularly during her recovery. At first, Maya thought he was just being kind, checking on a friend. But as weeks passed, she started to notice other things. The way he'd bring Lily's favorite snacks without being asked. How he'd help around the apartment, fixing the leaky faucet and the loose cabinet door. The way he'd sit with Maya on bad days, not trying to cheer her up or tell her it would get better, just being there. One evening, about 6 weeks after the surgery, Alex was helping Lily with a puzzle while Maya rested on the couch. She watched them together. Alex's patience as Lily struggled to find the right piece, his genuine praise when she got it right. Lily looked up suddenly. "Mr. Alex, do you have kids?" "No, I don't. Why not?" "You'd be a good daddy." Alex glanced at Maya, then back at Lily. "I just haven't found the right family yet, I guess." "You could be part of our family," Lily said with the simple logic of a child. "We like you." Maya felt her cheeks flush. "Lily, that's not... I like you both too," Alex said quietly, looking at Maya. There was something in his eyes, something she hadn't let herself see before. Or maybe she'd seen it but been too scared to acknowledge it. After Lily went to bed that night, Maya and Alex sat in the small living room. The silence between them felt different than usual, charged with something unspoken. "I should probably tell you something," Alex said finally, "and I don't want to make things weird or pressure you in any way. But I think you should know." Maya's heart started racing. "Okay. When I stopped at your table that day at the market, I told you I saw talent in your paintings. And I did, but that's not the only reason I bought them." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "There was something about you. The way you stood there in the rain, not giving up even though hardly anyone was at the market. The strength in your eyes even though I could see you were scared. I wanted to help you, yes, but I also wanted to know you." Maya didn't know what to say. Her heart was pounding so hard she was sure he could hear it. "I'm not asking for anything," Alex continued quickly. "You've been through so much and you're still recovering. I just wanted you to know that what I feel, it's not just friendship. But there's no pressure, Maya, none at all. Your healing and Lily's well-being come first, always." Maya took a shaky breath. She thought about the past few months, about how Alex had been there for every difficult moment, how he'd never asked for anything in return, never expected anything, how Lily had started calling him Mr. Alex with such affection, how Maya herself had started looking forward to his visits, feeling lighter when he was around. "I feel it too," she whispered. "I've been trying not to, telling myself it was gratitude or that I was confused because you've helped so much, but it's more than that." Alex moved closer, taking her hand gently. "We can take this as slow as you need. There's no rush. I have a 7-year-old daughter in medical debt and I'm still recovering from surgery," Maya said, trying to smile. "I'm kind of a mess, and you're not a mess. You're incredible." Alex squeezed her hand. "And Lily is amazing. I meant what I said to her. I'd be honored to be part of your family if you'll have me. Whenever you're ready." Maya felt tears sliding down her cheeks, but for once they were happy tears. After so many years of struggling alone, of being scared and tired and overwhelmed, here was someone who saw all of her, including the broken parts, and wanted to stay anyway. "I'd like that," she said softly, but slowly. "For Lily, of course. We have all the time in the world." They sat together on the couch, hands intertwined, talking quietly about everything and nothing. About Alex's childhood and Maya's dreams. About Lily's latest school project and the new paintings Maya wanted to create when she felt stronger. When Alex finally left that night, he kissed Maya's forehead gently at the door. "Get some rest. I'll see you tomorrow." Tomorrow. The words sounded different now. Not scary, but full of possibility. Maya checked on Lily, who was sprawled across her bed, hugging her stuffed rabbit. She looked peaceful, safe. Maya had done that. Despite everything, despite all the fear and struggle, she'd kept her daughter safe. And now maybe they could be more than just safe. They could be happy. 6 months passed like a dream Maya was afraid to wake up from. Her latest scan came back clear. The doctors used words like remission and excellent prognosis. Each checkup brought better news, and slowly, the constant fear that had lived in her chest started to fade. Her art business had grown beyond anything she'd imagined. Maya finally quit both her jobs at the diner and grocery store. It felt surreal, walking out of those places for the last time, knowing she'd never have to go back. She could focus entirely on painting and being a mother. For the first time in years, she had time. Time to breathe. Time to be present. Time to actually enjoy her life. The apartment that had once felt cramped and shabby now felt cozy. Maya had painted the walls, hung curtains, added small touches that made it feel like a real home. But even so, it was still tight quarters. Lily was getting bigger and needed her own space. "We should look for a bigger place," Alex suggested one Saturday morning over breakfast. He'd started staying over some nights, sleeping on the couch, becoming a natural part of their routine. Maya had been thinking the same thing, but the idea of moving, of affording something bigger, still seemed out of reach in her mind. She hadn't quite adjusted to the fact that things were different now. "We could afford it," Alex continued gently. "With your painting income and my salary, we could find something with 2 bedrooms. Maybe a small yard for Lily." The word hung in the air. They hadn't talked about officially living together, about what they were building. They'd been taking things slow like they'd promised. But somewhere along the way, slow had turned into steady. Into real. "Is that what you want?" Maya asked quietly. "To find a place together?" Alex reached across the table and took her hand. "I want whatever you and Lily want. But yes, I'd like that. I'd like us to be a real family." Lily, who had been coloring at the other end of the table, looked up with bright eyes. "Does that mean Mr. Alex would live with us all the time?" "Would you like that?" Maya asked her daughter. Lily nodded enthusiastically. "Yes, and can we get a dog too?" They all laughed, and Maya felt something settle in her heart. This was right. This was what happiness felt like. They found a small house a month later, nothing fancy but perfect for them. 2 bedrooms, a tiny backyard, and a room with good light that Maya could use as a studio. On moving day, Mrs. Chen came by with homemade dumplings and got teary-eyed seeing them all together. "I knew from the start," she said, hugging Maya. "I knew good things were coming for you." Maya's online shop continued to thrive. People from all over the country ordered her paintings. She discovered that her story resonated with people who had faced their own struggles, their own moments of desperation and hope. Her art had become more than just pretty pictures. It represented survival, resilience, the idea that beautiful things could grow from hard times. Alex approached her one evening with an idea. "What if you did something bigger? Something that could help other people in the situation you were in." "What do you mean?" "A foundation, using proceeds from your art sales to help single parents who are facing medical crises, people who can't afford treatment, who are choosing between medicine and rent." The idea took Maya's breath away. She thought about how alone she'd felt, how terrifying it had been to face her diagnosis with no resources, no support. If she could help others avoid that fear, even for one person, it would mean everything. "Yes," she said, "let's do it." They called it the Canvas of Hope Foundation. Alex helped with all the legal paperwork while Maya created a special collection of paintings to fund the initial grants. The response was overwhelming. The local news covered the story. People donated not just by buying paintings, but with direct contributions. Within 3 months, they were able to help their first recipient, a single father with 2 kids who needed surgery but couldn't afford to miss work. The foundation covered his medical costs and provided funds for his family during recovery. When Maya met him and his children, she saw herself in his eyes, that same desperate hope she'd carried for so long. "Thank you," he said, his voice breaking. "You saved my life. Someone gave me a chance when I needed it most," Maya replied. "Now we get to pass that forward." As the foundation grew, so did Maya's artistic career. Alex arranged for her first solo exhibition at a major gallery downtown. Not a small community space, but a real prestigious gallery where established artists showed their work. Maya was terrified. "I'm not ready for this," she told Alex the week before the opening. "These are real art people, critics. What if they tear my work apart?" "Then they tear it apart," Alex said calmly. "But that won't change what your art means to the people who connect with it. You're not painting for critics, Maya. You're painting your truth." The night of the exhibition, Maya wore a dress that Alex had insisted on buying her, something elegant that made her feel like someone she barely recognized. Lily wore a matching outfit and held Maya's hand tightly as they walked into the gallery. The space was packed. Maya's paintings hung on the walls, each one a piece of her journey. There was the first painting she'd ever sold to Alex, the sunset over the lake. New pieces she'd created during recovery, darker but still hopeful. And her favorite, the one she'd titled Becoming, which showed a woman and child walking toward light. People moved through the gallery, studying her work with serious faces. Maya's stomach churned with anxiety. Then she heard someone crying. A woman stood in front of one of her paintings, tears streaming down her face. "I'm sorry," the woman said when she noticed Maya watching. "It's just so beautiful. I lost my husband last year and I've been raising my daughter alone, and this painting, it's like you painted exactly how I feel. Lost but still going, scared but still hoping." Maya hugged the stranger, both of them crying now. "That's exactly it," Maya whispered. "Keep going. Keep hoping." The reviews came out over the next few days. Some critics praised her work, calling it emotionally raw and authentic. Others were less kind, calling it technically unsophisticated or too sentimental. Maya read them all and realized that Alex had been right. The criticism didn't change what her art meant to the people who needed it. One afternoon, Maya was painting in her new studio when Lily came running in, followed by Alex. Her daughter was holding a piece of paper, jumping with excitement. Mama, look what I drew at school." It was a picture of their family. Maya, Lily, and Alex standing in front of their house with a big rainbow overhead. At the bottom, in Lily's careful handwriting, it said, "My family." Maya looked at Alex, and the love in his eyes made her chest ache in the best way. That evening, after Lily was asleep, Alex found Maya in the backyard, looking up at the stars. He wrapped his arms around her from behind. "Do you ever think about how different things could have been?" Maya asked softly. "If I hadn't gone to the market that rainy day, if you hadn't stopped at my table." "All the time," Alex admitted. "I think about how close I came to staying home that morning, how different both our lives would be." "Do you believe in fate?" "I believe in choice," Alex said. "You chose not to give up. You chose to keep painting, to keep fighting. I chose to stop at your table, to reach out. We chose each other. That's better than fate." Maya turned in his arms to face him. "I love you," she said. The first time she'd said the words out loud, though she'd felt them for months. "I love you too," Alex replied. "You and Lily, my family." They stood together under the stars, and Maya thought about the journey that had brought her here. The fear and pain, yes, but also the unexpected kindness. The way art had saved her life. The way love had found her when she wasn't looking for it. She thought about all the people the foundation would help, all the families who wouldn't have to face their darkest moments alone. She thought about Lily growing up in a home filled with love and security, never knowing the constant worry that had defined Maya's life for so long. The next morning, Maya started a new painting. She didn't have a commission for it, wasn't creating it for the foundation or a gallery. This one was just for her, for them. She painted a rainy market, a small table with paintings, and a man in a nice coat stopping to look. The beginning of everything. She titled it, "The Day Hope Found Me," because that's what it had been. On her darkest day, when she'd almost given up, hope had found her. And it had been wearing a nice coat, carrying a kind smile, and had seen something in her that she'd stopped seeing in herself. Maya had learned that sometimes the end of one story was really just the beginning of another. That asking for help wasn't weakness but courage. That love could grow in the most unexpected places. And that beauty could emerge from struggle, like flowers pushing through concrete. She'd set out to sell paintings to save her life. Instead, she'd found a life worth living. And that made all the difference.